There are significant tensions between the two NATO allies because of America's support for the YPG, which the US considers an ally in the fight against Daesh, despite the fact it's the Syrian branch of the PKK terror group. Well, let's talk to Andrew Hopkins in Ankara and Francis Collins in Kilis on the border between Turkey and Syria. Let me begin, first of all, with Andrew. Any indication how the talks have been going so far?
Well, Jamie, as soon as the US Secretary of State arrived yesterday evening, he was taken into a meeting with the Turkish president, and according to the Turkish state news agency, that meeting went on for more than 3 hours. And also they say, quoting a Turkish official source, that the Turkish president, quote, explicitly set out Turkey's priorities and expectations. Now, in a couple of hours or so, we're expecting to find out whether they've managed to reach some kind of agreement or accommodation, because there's going to be a press conference between the Turkish foreign minister and the US Secretary of State. But really, Turkish politicians, the Turkish media have been portraying this meeting as some kind of tipping point in relations between the United States and Turkey, particularly as far as their relationship as NATO allies and how they work together in the Syrian war in future. But really, Turkish politicians are thinking now that now is the time for the United States to decide where its loyalties lie, whether it's with the YPG or with its NATO ally in the form of Turkey.
What does Turkey want, and what's been the US response?
Well, really, in the past few days and weeks, the Turkish politicians have been setting out how they think relations can improve between the two sides. And the Turkish foreign minister said that he wants to see the United States cut all ties with the YPG, take back all the weapons it's supplied, and also not to supply them with any more. Also that the YPG should withdraw from a city called Manbij in northern Syria, where Turkey could also carry out another operation in future. And they also want to see action on the organisation called FETÖ, which has been blamed for the failed coup attempt in Turkey 18 months ago. The leader of that organisation lives in the United States, and Turkey wants to see him extradited. Now, the United States says that its main priority in Syria is the fight against Daesh. Any other operations, such as the one in Afrin against the YPG, is a distraction. It says it understands Turkey's security concerns. It's been it's praised Turkey quite a bit as to its contribution in the fight against terror, but really, at this point, Turkish politicians are saying that they're fed up with the kind words, the understanding from America, and they now want to see some kind of action, some kind of support.
It is significant that they are meeting in the flesh. Is there a sense of optimism that these talks will deliver something?
Well, I don't think there is at the moment, Jamie. There's been a lot of meetings over the past year or so, particularly in the past week. We've seen the US National Security Advisor here in Ankara. The two defence ministers have been meeting in Brussels a couple of days ago, and now we have the US Secretary of State as well. But if I could tell you about something the Turkish defence minister said a couple of days ago when he met his US counterpart. He said during the discussions, the US defence minister said he offered to get the YPG to fight against the PKK, which Turkey responded and said that was completely impossible, because from Turkish politicians' point of view, that just shows you how far apart these two countries are, because it's Turkey's view, and what Turkey has been saying quite strongly now, that these two organisations are the same thing effectively. How can you get these two organisations to fight against each other if they are the same? And if that is what the US Secretary of Defence said, then there's a real problem. They are still very far apart in their views on the situation.